In a trial that's shaking the very foundation of the entertainment industry, music mogul Sean "Diddy" Combs is now facing allegations that go far beyond scandal. They're entering criminal territory. For decades, Diddy stood as a towering figure in hip-hop, a billionaire businessman, record executive, and cultural icon. But behind the luxury, behind the fame, is now a growing list of disturbing accusations. In a recent courtroom session, tensions exploded when Diddy's own son abruptly stormed out, right after the attorney revealed shocking claims involving minors and a mysterious elite underground party ring known only as freak-offs. Today, we're diving deep into that dramatic courtroom moment, what was revealed, and what it could mean not just for the Combs family, but for the entire entertainment world. This is not just about Diddy anymore. It's about power, secrets, and the price of silence. Background on the trial. To understand the weight of what happened in court and why Diddy's son lost control, we need to go back to the heart of the legal battle that has now become a public reckoning. Charges against Sean Combs. Sean "Diddy" Combs is currently facing a series of explosive allegations that go far beyond celebrity gossip. The charges include sex trafficking, racketeering, drug distribution, and interstate transportation for the purpose of engaging in prostitution. Federal prosecutors have painted a disturbing picture of a man who allegedly used his fame and fortune to operate a highly organized underground network, one involving manipulation, coercion, and abuse of power. These are not just civil lawsuits for misconduct. These are potential felony crimes that could carry decades in prison if proven true. Key witness testimonies. One of the most pivotal voices in the case has been Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former girlfriend and singer under his label. In a chilling testimony, she described years of alleged abuse, both physical and psychological, and detailed how she was reportedly forced into sex acts with strangers at events orchestrated by Diddy. According to Cassie and several other witnesses, these encounters weren't casual or consensual. They were planned, enforced, and executed under pressure, often involving mind-altering substances and surveillance. Other former staff members, bodyguards, and assistants have also stepped forward, corroborating stories of secret parties, threats, and a pervasive culture of control within Diddy's inner circle. What are freak-offs? One term that keeps surfacing throughout the trial is freak-offs. But what exactly does it mean? In court documents and testimonies, freak-offs refer to alleged private, invitation-only sex parties organized by Diddy and his associates. What makes these events particularly disturbing is the reported use of coercion, intimidation, and in some cases, the presence of underage individuals, some allegedly unaware of what they were being brought into. According to prosecutors, these weren't wild celebrity gatherings. They were systematic, controlled encounters designed to feed a darker obsession. And it's in this context that the courtroom incident involving Diddy's son took place, an emotional eruption tied directly to revelations about what allegedly occurred during these so-called freak-offs. The courtroom incident. What happened next in that tense courtroom left everyone stunned. Description of the event. As the prosecution detailed the operations of the alleged freak-offs, one particular moment ignited a firestorm. An attorney presented graphic evidence and testimony suggesting that minors were trafficked through Diddy's elite network, including disturbing footage and travel logs allegedly linking underage victims to these events. That's when, according to multiple eyewitnesses, Diddy's son, believed to be Justin or Christian Combs, abruptly stood up, visibly shaken. With a look of disbelief and rage, he stormed out of the courtroom, slamming the doors behind him, unable or unwilling to hear anymore. The entire room fell silent. Immediate reactions. Attendees say the courtroom was charged with tension. Diddy himself reportedly sat frozen, eyes fixed on the table in front of him. His legal team quickly asked for a recess. Members of the Combs family, sitting behind the defense bench, appeared distraught. One source described the atmosphere as an emotional collapse, a moment when the family facade finally cracked. Even the judge was visibly shaken, pausing for a moment before calling for order and reminding those present that the courtroom was not a place for emotional outbursts, no matter how painful the truth may be. Media coverage. Within minutes, the incident was trending across social media. Headlines exploded. Diddy's son walks out mid-testimony, can't take it anymore. Combs' family cracks under pressure in court. What was said in court that made Diddy's son flee? People, the Washington Post, BBC, and countless independent outlets covered the story, each adding fuel to the growing public outrage. Some saw the son's reaction as a sign of innocence, a young man overwhelmed by horrific claims. Others wondered whether the emotional break suggested he knew more than he let on. Either way, it marked a turning point, a raw, unscripted moment that humanized the headlines and brought a deeply personal dimension to an already scandalous trial. Attorneys' revelations. The moment Diddy's son stormed out wasn't just emotional. It was triggered by some of the most disturbing allegations yet revealed in this trial. Details disclosed. During this pivotal session, the prosecution laid out what they called definitive evidence of organized exploitation. Among the shocking details, flight logs and hotel records allegedly show minors being flown across state lines under false pretenses. A private server of encrypted videos was introduced, reportedly featuring scenes from these infamous freak-offs, with blurred but clearly underage participants. Eyewitness testimonies from former bodyguards and assistants stated that young girls were coached on how to behave, what to wear, and who to entertain, often after being plied with alcohol or unknown substances. One chilling statement revealed that these encounters were not spontaneous. They were scheduled, recorded, and in some cases, exchanged like currency. According to the lead prosecutor, this was not celebrity misbehavior. This was a calculated and controlled machine of exploitation, and at the center of it was Mr. Combs. Legal implications. These revelations bring immense legal gravity to the case. If even partially substantiated, the consequences for Sean Combs could include federal sex trafficking charges, conspiracy under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, production and distribution of illicit material involving minors, witness tampering, if it's proven that threats were made to silence accusers. Each of these charges carries decades in prison, and the addition of minors into the mix shifts the entire case from high-profile scandal to potential federal conviction of historic proportions. Worse still, the ripple effect could bring down other high-profile collaborators, venues, and financiers connected to these events. Public and legal community response. The public reaction was swift and visceral. Social media platforms lit up with hashtags like Diddy Trial, Justice for Victims, Shutdown Freak Offense. Advocacy groups for survivors of sex trafficking immediately issued statements condemning the alleged events. One national organization, RAIN, called the testimony one of the most disturbing accounts of celebrity exploitation in modern memory. Legal experts have chimed in as well. Former prosecutors and defense attorneys appearing on networks like CNN and MSNBC described the case as a potential landmark in celebrity accountability, akin to what was seen with Epstein or R. Kelly. Many believe this trial could usher in a new era of scrutiny in Hollywood, where private parties, NDAs, and industry power are no longer shields against justice. Broader implications. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs is more than a courtroom drama. It's a cultural earthquake, shaking the very foundations of the music and entertainment industries. Impact on the entertainment industry. The revelations unfolding in court have cast a dark shadow over the glitz and glamour of celebrity culture. Within the industry, insiders are beginning to distance themselves from Diddy. Brands are pulling partnerships, artists are removing past collaborations, and major platforms, once eager to celebrate his legacy, are now re-evaluating his presence. Behind closed doors, executives are reportedly scrambling to review their own contracts, NDAs, and event protocols. Because if Diddy's empire can be scrutinized like this, anyone could be next. Much like the Harvey Weinstein scandal rocked Hollywood, this trial is exposing a music culture that, for decades, may have normalized abuse, silence, and power imbalances. all under the guise of fame and fortune. Discussions on consent and power dynamics. More than anything, this trial has ignited urgent conversations about consent, exploitation, and how power can be used or abused. In many of the testimonies, victims describe being in situations where they technically agreed, but were under emotional pressure, financial dependency, or psychological manipulation. This has led to a new public understanding. Consent is not just about saying yes, it's about freedom, safety, and the ability to say no without fear. Social commentators, advocates, and therapists are using this case to reframe the dialogue around what real consent looks like, especially in environments where fame, money, or status distort the balance. The trial is also putting a spotlight on how silence is bought, how trauma is ignored, and how institutions, from record labels to law enforcement, have long failed to protect the vulnerable. Potential for legal reforms. As public pressure mounts, lawmakers are beginning to take notice. Several advocacy groups have already petitioned Congress and the Department of Justice to expand statutes of limitations for sex trafficking and abuse cases, enforce stricter penalties for the use of NDAs in covering up criminal behavior, create entertainment-specific oversight bodies to monitor abuse within the industry, mandate training and compliance checks for music executives and talent managers. Legal analysts predict that this trial could lead to reforms similar to those that followed the Me Too movement, particularly in how evidence of trafficking and coercion is prosecuted. There are even calls to create a federal celebrity misconduct registry where individuals with credible allegations or convictions cannot simply disappear and return to fame unchecked. The Diddy trial is not just about one man. It's about a system where power shields predators, where luxury masks exploitation, and where the silence of victims echoes louder than their screams. But now the silence is breaking. As this trial unfolds, we've witnessed a courtroom moment charged with emotion. Diddy's son storming out as harrowing revelations about the so-called freak-offs came to light. We've heard from attorneys presenting shocking evidence of alleged exploitation involving minors and explored the deep legal and cultural consequences that now hang in the balance. This case is more than just a headline. It is a testament to the urgent need for justice and accountability. For too long, victims of trafficking and abuse have been silenced or dismissed, hidden behind walls of power and influence. This trial reminds us why it's crucial to listen, to believe, and to act. If you want to make a difference, stay informed. Support organizations that fight human trafficking and provide aid to survivors, such as RAIN, Polaris Project, and End Human Trafficking Now. Together, awareness and action can help break the cycle of abuse and bring real change. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing story and other important issues.